Good morning. And I'm sick, if you couldn't tell. I don't exactly know if it's a coincidence, but there is a part of me that believes the topic of this video, and my we'll call it health, is part of why I'm sick, if that makes any sense. I haven't done one of these in a while, and I remember I was going to do more of these, and I spoke about it back in, God, what was it? I think it was a few months ago. And I don't know. I was lying in my bed right now, just feeling like absolute crap. I've been sick for probably about 5 days now, probably in denial, calling it allergies. I was like, oh, the pollen. It's definitely what it is. No, no, I don't know if this is TMI, but I woke up and my phlegm is a new color, baby. That's how you know. But I don't normally get sick a lot. I get sick very rarely, and it doesn't get past something like this normally, which is like a common cold. It's been like well over a year plus, like maybe even two, that I was like properly. Oh no, I got COVID at one point. Yeah, it wasn't great. But other than that, no, I normally would like think of myself as pretty healthy, but I don't know. I'm sitting in my bed feeling like crap, and the moment I started feeling like crap was the moment I finally decided to give myself a break, because I was having a conversation with someone, and we were starting to talk about sort of my work-life balance, and it was a very eye-opening conversation, because I didn't realize just how much I guess I was actually working on a creative aspect. Like, I used to be an engineer, and I would have an engineering job, and I'd work a 9 to 5, and it would be Monday through Friday, and the weekends would be explicitly reserved for myself. Like, you don't just like clock into work. But nowadays, I am my own boss. I do YouTube. My desk is literally right next to my bed. It's where all of my life is, because I'm in an apartment with three of my friends, and it starts to create this problem where I'm like, oh, I'm actually, the problem is more like I'm not even, there's no separation. There's no separation between my personal life and my work life, and I've come to realize this a bit more, which has caused sort of like a slippery slope where end up working on weekends, and then the days start to blend together, and it's like every day's the same for me. And when I was talking with this person, I was like, oh, I'm starting to realize, like, in the past year and a half, or God, like maybe it's even more now, but I in the entire time I've been doing YouTube full time, I've only taken about 2 weeks off total, including weekends, of just not doing YouTube. 2 weeks. Like it would be like, I remember like last Christmas, like, what did I do that morning? Oh, I got ready, make sure my parents were all good, and then I started working on video ideas. Actually, on the weekends, I'm always trying to do something creative. I'm trying to work on the edit. And so I'm talking with my friend here, and I'm like, "Oh my God. Like, this is probably unhealthy." And he's like, "Yeah, you should take like a month break." And I'm like, "I don't know if I can do a month break." But I told him I would try to like give myself some time. So this was last Tuesday, and it's, I think, Sunday today. So it's been like 5 days or so, and I for the most part haven't touched YouTube. I've like kept my computer intentionally off, and I think this is one of the things I realized, that I turning off my computer and intentionally staying away from YouTube has sort of made me realize, like, God, like, I have no hobbies anymore. And I didn't even realize how this happened. But back in the day, like, I would say at my most peak quality of life, when I was the most happy, if this makes any sense at all, honestly, this congestion is like throwing my head for a loop. But I feel like that's just me normally. But getting back on track, I feel like mostly the time when I was most happy in my life was when I had the most balance. I felt like there was a bit more purpose to my life, and things felt a bit more organized, and I felt more mentally refreshed. I had my engineering work that I was doing. I had a relationship, like a like I had a girlfriend I was pursuing at the time. There was I had my social life with my friends that I could hang out with. I had the gym. I had judo that I was doing at the side, which I love judo. I keep telling people I'm going to go back to it, but I haven't done it yet. And so actually, since I've turned off my computer, I decided to start researching on my phone, like, oh, judo clubs near me and looking for different areas. And I'm like, oh, okay, I think I'm going to have to like try and get into this. And I think that might be an investment that will help my sort of long-term feeling. Like this. Oh, so I don't even think I've even said why I'm even recording this in first place, why I have this problem. I feel burnt out. I really do. Like, I'm editing my next video right now, and I edited it through, like, the first time, and I was like, God, I hated this thing. And that's and sort of realizing, like, why I hated it is because I felt like my creativity is just, there was none there. It felt very forced and very pushed, and it felt like, as much as I loved the video and I loved recording what I made, and I have a vision for it, that vision is sort of like in a blockade, or it's like, think of it like at the other side of this giant chasm, and all of my creativity would normally fill up this chasm so I could walk across and complete the video, but now there's no creativity left, so there's this giant blockade essentially for me being able to complete this video. And I guess my theory here is, by giving myself time to pursue other interests, find other things other than YouTube to enjoy and fulfill myself, my hope is that it will in turn fill up my chasm so I can actually like cross the border and be able to finish this video. And judo maybe is going to be one of those things that'll help. I love judo. I love martial arts. It's such an interesting element because, you know, funny on the topic of balance is, you know, they are very serious about balance. They're very serious about when you start, you got to take it slow and you got to ease into the workout. And with everything, like judo is actually, the number one rule of judo is balance. It's called kazushi. Or maybe I screwed that up. If any sensei, judo senseis are listening to me, I'm trying to remember what kazushi is. Maybe it's grip. Point is, let's just pretend it's balance there, kiddos. The very fundamental is that you can't perform a judo throw without balance, or you can't grapple someone without balance, because you're only as strong as your foundation. Kind of like a house. You can have the best and most expensive house in the world, but if it's built on sand, it's going to fall. And so right now, I guess what I feel like is my life is currently, maybe it looks really good from like a flashy perspective, but I feel like it's currently built on this very gravelly, very loose foundation that's like not very structured. Whereas it used to be in my past, and it's making me realize like, oh, I gotta like make more of an effort here to rebalance out my life. And so any chance I get to like hang out with people and socialize, I will always make the effort to say yes, make it happen. If I actually do have something going on that day, I'll be like, okay, I can't do now, but let's figure out a different time. So that I try to help fulfill that social aspect that I think I seem to have lost. And then the judo thing, try to get back into the judo and be going a bit rigorously and regularly. I go to the gym pretty consistently, but I feel like that alone isn't enough. And so just these different elements to help kind of soften out my life and make it a bit more well-rounded. And maybe that'll help with the longevity of my creativity because, yeah, it's tough. And I think the other thing is I need to give myself actual time away from YouTube. Like not in the sense that I'm going to just step out now. No. But like stop working on the weekends. You know, maybe I have to get myself a separate office to separate myself from my work to sort of like act as a self-disciplinary tool. I don't know. I feel like I've been rambling. I feel like I say this all the time. Like even when I'm on the phone with my friends and we're talking about these deep conversations. I was on a phone call with one of my friends yesterday, and I feel like I just ramble sometimes. In my head, I feel like I am a mess. I feel like I am a chaotic mess that may mean well, but just like sometimes I feel like there's no direction. Like I started this video talking about how I was sick, right? And I think that's actually like that. My sickness is a byproduct of me overworking myself. And the moment I finally decide to rest, my whole body just crashes. I had this in college too, where I was just like, Oh, it was great. I worked my butt off. The junior year, I swear to God, killed me. Like it was 7 a.m. to 1 a.m. 6 days a week, with the seventh day just being like 1 hour more sleep. It was, it was, it was ridiculous. I still don't know how I did it, but I remember after it was 3 or 4 months straight of like that type of grind, like literal grind. All my friends were going out, partying, socializing, and there was no balance to my life, and I was miserable that year. Whew. But they also said at the beginning of that year that it was going to break us. That was the whole point of junior year of college. I was like, oh God, it lived up to the expectation. But I got back. I I got back home, and my dad comes and picks me up or whatever from college, and we're driving home, and I am the most lifeless person ever. And I told him I felt like something broke inside of me, and for the following 3 days, I believe I slept anywhere from 16 to 20 hours, like straight. For the following 3 days, it was something like that. Maybe I'm exaggerating. It's like a fish story, but that's just what I recall. Like that, I feel like I've actually like repressed a lot of those memories from junior year, because I didn't have balance. And I think back to my lifestyle here now, it's like it's nowhere near as severe, but it definitely does have similar traits of this lack of balance. And then I look at the points in my life where I was really happy, and I'm like, huh, I was a lot more balanced with like my life. I had a social life. I had that fitness. My fitness was taken care of. I was working on my spirituality, or my like. I'm not really like a super religious person. I do believe there's something out there. Wow, see what I'm talking about when I say I kind of ramble and I feel like I'm chaos. I swear to God, I have like ADHD or something, and I just start going off on my own little spin here because I could just, I don't know, just blah 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 blah. What was I saying? Oh my God, I lost train of thought again. You see what I mean? Like, oh no, balance. So every time I've been happy in my life, I've seemed to have this underlying foundation of just balance, where I have my intellectual, my fitness, my socialization. All of these elements have their different hobbies, and they have these different activities that I'm doing within my life. And that I was like, oh, there's a pattern here. I'm happy when I'm balanced. And I feel like there's a lot of things in life that are achieved well through balance. Um, like where I always give the example of working out, because when you work out, like in order to get big and healthy, you can't get big and healthy without rest and recovery. But you also, it's not just rest and recovery. It also requires an element of stimulation. You have to break down the muscle fibers when you work out and lift weights, or when you run. But giving yourself time to recover is the repairing process, because muscle doesn't grow without two elements. You have to break down the muscle fibers through working out, and you have to rebuild them by rest and recovery. And so it's a balance of the three elements of nutrition, sleep, and training that actually creates muscle growth. And so I always think that's very interesting, how it's like at a very core fundamental basis of the human body, you can't achieve progress without balance. That's kind of how I look at it. Maybe it makes sense. Maybe it doesn't. I've been recording for 13 minutes right now, and we're about to see if I actually like recorded anything. I'm about to be very scared if I hit the stop button and there's nothing. But I guess if you're hearing this video, it's probably fine, and I'm just rambling. I'm an anxious soul. I don't know. But I love you guys, and I'm going to probably get cracking on this video at some point soon. I'm not going to try and pressure myself. I am going to try to figure this out soon. But I love you all. Have a great day, and try not to be as sick as me. I'm not really that sick, but I don't know. Yeah.